Okay, so the goal as we go through this is for your student ultimately to be able to walk into the shot, get set, have posture set. Now, these are your advanced students, whatever their setup is, whatever zone they're playing from, and then to be able to set sequencing in motion and go from there. So today we're going to start very differently. We're going to start, and if you've been with Wright Balance for any period of time, this isn't new. The way we set posture for upper, middle, and lower core is not new. Nothing new. What is new, though, is being able to test it with the downswing path. So the first zone we're going to go to, you'll notice that I have taped, that I have marks on my hands here. And I am going to place tape. We're going to start with the upper core. And I'm going to place tape on those upper core power spots of my middle finger on both hands. Now, I say when you're teaching, this is extremely important. If you want to put tape, because this, even though we're not going to be working or gripping the club today, this is where the butt of the club crosses. In those two positions, I've covered the upper core power spot. You can see the black is my mid-core power spot, and the blue on each hand is my lower core power spot. So I've covered the red. And now my balance, when I add knee flex here, just looking straight ahead. If your head drops, you're going to change balance. So looking straight ahead, add knee flex, my weight is going to the balls of my feet. If you have a balance mat, swing catalyst, S2M, body balance, any balance mat, you do this, add knee flex, keep your head up, and my weight is right over the balls of my feet. And I did that on red 3, by the way. Okay, so let's look at posture first for my upper core. So to set posture, and by the way, we've used this for years. This is 2 10-pound discs with a carriage bolt through about 1.5 inches down, 1 to 1.5 inches down. Weight placed on the center of the chest will naturally set your posture. Kevin Stadler came out for a lesson 10, 15 years ago. And for him, I had a 25-pound disc. He took that disc, put it across his chest, checked his posture, said, "That's it, Doc. That's been my issue. I've had too much spine angle." So this will, for him, this for, and in setting posture for upper core, my stance width needs to be narrow. Now, when Kevin came out, and this is true of all upper core players, when Kev came out and we tested his stance width, he was at 16 inches. So your upper core player stance width is very narrow. If he's at 16 with his stature, I'm going to put myself here at 14 inches. That's if you can see my feet here, that's exactly where I'm standing, 14 inches. So to set my posture, I'm going to lock out my knees. I'll show you this down the line in just a moment. Bend from the hips, add knee flex, and there's my posture. Okay. I stand tall. I'll do this in a moment without the bar. And I look down and my hips are square. So again, lock out the knees, bend from the hips, and add knee flex. That's my posture. So if I come down the line, narrow up my stance, lock out the knees, add knee flex, and there's my posture. And you can see that my hips remain square here, and they will remain square when I stand tall. Lock out the knees, bend from the hips, add knee flex. Now, even with the weight across my chest, these are the mistakes you're going to see with your students. So notice I've already set a little bit of spine angle here. Okay. So now I'm going to lock out my knees, bend from my hips, add knee flex. Now to you, my hips are going to look square. I stand tall, look where I go. My hips are wide open. That's the downswing path. You do that again. So all I have done is I have a little bit of spine angle. Now you see this in students all the time. They'll have a club and they'll use, okay, lock out your knees and they won't come all the way back up. You have to be tall. Have to be tall. And this is true in every one of the postures we're going to be working on today. This is just upper. So you have to stay tall, lock out the knees, bend from the hips, add knee flex. Now I can check. Path is good. Stand tall. And drop is good. Please mute your microphone. Please mute your microphone. Your icon is coming up when you're talking.
That's fine.
So for our education session, this is going to be disruptive.
Just like, like how much weight are you looking for? Like,
Mike, when you would you mute your mic for me, please? You're coming across on the as the icon on the screen. Okay, so if I had a little bit of spine angle, just getting started, you can see how much spine angle I have, not much. Then I'll lock out my knees, add knee flex. If I let my hips look square to you, but if I let them swing, arm swing here, they're wide open. And you can see that from the fist drop. So spine angle, you have to be very tall. Stance width is narrow. Why in a narrow stance width? Okay, let's take a look at why. So for your upper core player, when they set posture, narrow stance width. Now we're going to go to sequencing of motion. So the first test is posture. Test the posture with the downswing path. Now, sequencing of motion, if you can look at sequencing of motion as just the opposite of the setup. So, and I set up with the upper core, I'm going to start with the lower core. So what that means is one of two ways. I'll show you what I would do. The trail hip starts back. Trail hip starts back. So as the trail hip starts back, you'll notice a couple of things happen. I still have a good bit of pressure on this trail foot, but you'll notice visually my center of mass looks target side. Look at my lead knee. My lead knee is behind the ball. This is being created by sequencing of motion. Let's do that again. Well, I'm going to come back. If you don't move your feet, you can test your downswing path. So that was a good sequence of motion. So ball position for the upper core player is forward. So lock out the knees, stay tall. Make sure you stay tall. Lock out the knees, add knee flex. Now my sequence of motion, trail hip is going to begin. So as that trail hip starts, you'll see center of mass visually appears target side. Lead knee is behind the ball. I still have pressure here on the trail leg. I still have a good bit of pressure there. So I'm not leaning. I don't even want to give you a percentage because it would be an estimate. If you have balance plates, you can test, but that's a good 60-40 easily. So I'm not loading, which is when we first got into this, that's more of a stack and tilt, I know. But just allow the setup to create. Don't try. I had students years ago. Well, we need to load more on the target side. No. All you have to do is have the correct setup and the right sequence of motion, and it just will happen. It is, everything here should be very natural. Again, lead knee behind the ball. I'm gonna include in the ebook this time, I have most major tour winners in the last 10 years showing upper, middle, and lower. You'll see that your upper core players all have that lead knee behind the ball. All look target side at the top. So one more time, let me show you down the line. Standing tall. And from the hips, knees are still locked, add knee flex. Now this knee flex in your upper core player is going to be very little. So I start with a trail hip. And when I come back, add knee flex, I'm square. This time I'm going to do it incorrectly. So this time I'm going to set my posture correctly. But this time I'm going to start just a little bit with the upper body, and then I turn. You can't see it. I'll show you face on here in a moment. But you'll note my trail hip just went up, my hips just opened, and my path is going over the top, pulled left, heavy, or blocked right. So now, let me do it incorrectly for you here, you'll see. So if all I do is make a subtle move first with the shoulders before the lower body, you'll notice that I have a restriction in shoulder rotation. I can feel that. Look where the lead knee is going. The lead knee is going more in front of the ball. Okay, once again, I'm going to do it incorrectly. Shoulders start a little bit early. So the sequencing of motion is really where what creates a restriction of shoulder rotation. My trail hip just rose, and my lead knee is nowhere close to being behind the ball. And you may be able to see how open my hips are, and the pathway is outside in. Again, very steep to the ball, we're blocked. All right. And by the way, if I didn't tell you, I removed, if you're doing this, you want to make sure you remove your rings. Now, I want to show you one more thing before we go on to mid-core. And what I'm going to show you is true throughout. I'm going to move one of these. So here I have tape on the upper core power spot. I'm going to move this to my mid-core. What this emulates is the position of the underside of the grip. So the underside of the grip for an upper core player has to be on that pad. Well, I'm talking about, let me show you one more thing. You have a crease in your palm. I'm showing you this because this is what's going to happen. You want to tape your student's hand. So when you tape your student's hand, you tell them that, oh, that grip has to go here. Their tendency is to get that entire grip across the base of the fingers, just above the palm. It has to be angled so this crease is on the side. That crease on the side. And when we get into grip, I'll show you more of that. So, okay, what I've done, when you talk to you tape your students' hands and just tell them that's where the grip goes, because as you get into teaching grip, you want them to be comfortable and already there. So I have tape on the upper core power spot of my lead hand and on the mid core here. So if I do nothing now, then I'm going to set my posture. So I'm going to lock out my knees, in from the hips, add knee flex, and there's my posture. But look where my hips go. That is because I have applied pressure in the wrong spot. I've applied pressure to my mid-core when I should be applying pressure to my upper core. Okay, so this tape is emulating a difference in the grip position in the hands. Let me do this again. If you do this on your own, you'll find it interesting, and it's very telling for your students when we look at the downswing path. If the grip factor, all we've done is change the grip factors. Okay, here I am. My hips are square because I've locked them out with the Wright Balance Express. If I let my arms swing, my hips are open. You can see when I stand tall. My trail hip rises very steep to the ball. So when you're looking at a problem with your student, why are they so steep? The rest of the posture setup looks good. You've taken the club, you've checked their posture, you've checked their stance width, you've checked sequencing. It all looks good, but why? Check the grip. I can't tell you with tour players even how many times we would discover, oh, the grip's not crossing the right spot. They'll lose power and their miss is going to be pretty bad. So let me replace this just one more time. I'm moving it from the mid back to the upper. So again, I'm emulating the pressure from the grip. Well, now I have tape on both upper core power spots. Bend from the hips, add knee flex, and I'm good. So simply not having the grip in the right position. This is going to be true in all three zones. We're covering all three zones, but it's going to be true in all three. Okay. We're going to go to mid-core now.